Calling all instructional technology coaches, Forward Edge has launched a new hub for coaches to find strategies and resources to use for their coaching. The EDU Coach Network provides a place for instructional coaches to come together for coach-specific professional development, building a community, and finding mentorship moving through the school year. The network provides a place to casually seek resources or join in with book clubs, Twitter chats, webinars, and workshops, along with much more. Join the EDU Coach Network by going to educoachnetwork.com and join the coach community today.
Aloha, I'm Katie Ritter.
And I'm Justin Thomas, and this is the Restart Recharge podcast, a podcast by coaches for coaches. We bring the tips and tricks to help you in your everyday work as an instructional coach or whatever they call you in your school.
So hopefully you're going to leave this episode with us today feeling just a little bit less on your own coaching island.
So we are continuing on with our little mini series here involving marketing yourself and using Canva. You heard that a lot in the last episode about using Canva and how awesome it is. So we're going to continue designing in this episode by putting a spotlight on the wonderful creative tool of Canva. We're going to be talking with Tisha Richmond, a learning consultant with Canva, and the always positive and creative Jill DuBois on the amazing ways that Canva can help coaches, teachers, and students throughout the school year. So let me go ahead and introduce Tisha here. Tisha is an innovative district student engagement and professional development specialist, Canva learning consultant, Canva education content creator, international speaker, podcast host, and the author from Southern Oregon. She has taught family and consumer science for 25 years and has served in various leadership roles regionally and nationally. Tisha is the author of the book Make Learning Magical, which unlocks 7 keys to transform teaching and create unforgettable experiences in the classroom. In 2018, she was a recipient of Medford School District's Golden Pear Educator Secondary Teacher Award and the first place winner of the Henry Ford Innovation Nation Educator Award. Tisha is passionate about infusing joy, passion, play, and gamified strategies to immerse and empower our 21st century learners and make learning a magical experience for all. Welcome in, Tisha.
Hello, it's so wonderful to be with you all this morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Tisha, we are very excited to have you with us. We are also super excited to have, as Justin said, the always positive Jill DuBois with us too. So as a reminder, Jill's been on the podcast before, but just as a reminder of who she is a self-proclaimed repurposed educator and serves as a professional learning guide with us here on our Edu Badges team at Forward Edge in Ohio, although she is in Florida. Her distinct passion is to infuse joy to those in educational leadership by focusing efforts on listening and serving, using her voice to foster hope by celebrating diversity. She's also a published author and illustrator of several children's books with an SEL message. She's the founder and chief optimistic originator of Imparted Joy, LLC, which provides services and guidance to help others spark their stories with heart and confidence. Jill emphasizes to everyone she meets that each day is a fresh opportunity to listen, be slow to criticize, and be quick to empathize. And my personal favorite that she says here is keep dancing and dreaming with joy. I love it. Always love starting the day with a little dance. So welcome back, Jill.
Hello. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. And Tish and I have been connected for several years, so I can't wait to see what this episode kind of like follows.
Awesome. Well, let's just get right to it. Let's dive in here. Tisha, can you tell us a little bit more about your background in education and how you became a Canva learning consultant?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's been an exciting ride. I was in the culinary arts classroom actually for many, many years, taught 25 years in culinary arts, and then had this journey. And the journey started when iPads came into my classroom. Never used them before, had no idea what this would look like in culinary arts of all classes. It's very hands-on. And so I brought these iPads in and it completely rocked my world. It just changed everything as I just discovered all of these innovative ways that we could just make learning more magical. And so I just kind of started this journey of really transforming my own teaching and what learning looked like in my classroom, and really brought the joy back. I was at a place in my educational journey around that time that I was burnt out, stressed out, ready to leave, and those iPads just kind of was that one catalyst, that spark that helped just bring that joy back and make me realize how much more there was in education that I hadn't tapped into yet. And so I moved from that role in my classroom after about 4 years into a tech integration role. And I was having the time of my life teaching. I was loving what I was doing, but I had an opportunity to amplify my impact in a new way. And so I moved into this district role where I support teachers K through 12 in just bringing more joy into education, really helping teachers transform their classroom, help make unforgettable learning experiences happen for all kids. And all that tech integration role kind of morphed into a student engagement and professional development specialist role where I help create PD for our district and also just work with teachers one-on-one in helping them create more engaging and empowering learning experiences. And then this last year, I had this opportunity to work with Canva as a Canva learning consultant. And I was overjoyed because I have used Canva for so long. I started using Canva in 2014. And that was just a year after Canva was launched. Canva was launched in 2013. And at that time, I was using Canva to create Twitter graphics because I was hosting Twitter chats. And I found Canva was an amazing tool for doing that. And so as I started creating these Twitter graphics, like, oh my goodness, I love this tool so much. And before long, I was bringing it into my culinary arts classroom. And my students were creating menus, they were creating recipes, they were creating logos for their food trucks when we were doing our food truck race and just all sorts of things. And at that time, Canva for Education wasn't even a thing yet. It hadn't even come into the scene. And so we were using the free version of Canva actually at that time with my students. And I was loving it then. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so many ways for students to demonstrate their learning. And now it's just, it's skyrocketed. I mean, the things that you can do in Canva, the ways that students can create and demonstrate learning is just phenomenal. And so I was so excited when I had this opportunity to be able to just show teachers, be able to help districts in really utilizing this tool in powerful ways for student learning.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And
Yeah.
I have one more question for you, Tisha, and then Jill, I promise we're going to be asking you questions too. But Tisha, we'd love to know, a little bit of insight. I think it's always fun to know as a user, right, of these tools that are so popular in our classrooms. I always love like getting to know like the people and kind of the mission behind the tools. It just makes me feel even better of like what I'm supporting, what I'm using. So if you can share kind of a big question, but if you could share like what is, even if it's just from your perspective, but what is like the moonshot goal of Canva for the education space? Like what are you really hoping to accomplish as an organization?
Right. Well, I know that Canva really just wants to be in schools globally, really being utilized as a tool to really empower students and to be able to spark that creativity and give students just multiple ways to truly demonstrate what they know. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I know when I was in my classroom and I would open up those possibilities for students to really own their learning, to really be able to demonstrate their learning in these powerful ways. It's just like learning came alive to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is, one of the moonshot goals of Canva is just to really be able to provide those ways to demonstrate learning, across the globe.
I love that. Learning came alive. That's awesome.
All right, so let's now bring in Jill here, and Tisha, we'll get to you in just a moment on this, but what are some of the amazing ways that you have seen or heard Canva and how it's been used in the classroom, either from coaches working with teachers or just teachers in general, or students as well?
Well, I have to say that the very first time I even kind of came across Canva
Mhm.
was from an edu badge.
Okay.
I actually did that on my own in 2018. I remember even exactly what I did. I created a poster and I put it in my classroom. And I remember thinking, doggone it, that was so easy. And my kids are like, you did that? Oh my goodness. Can we do things like that?
Oh,
I think we can.
yeah.
And it just kind of evolved, and I think what Tisha said was, um, amplifying that impact in a different way, right? So taking those tools and taking those resources that we can use personally, but showing kids and modeling for them how to use it in the classroom. And one of my favorite things to do as an educator was to use it with Book Creator. And, it just kind of gives kids the freedom and students the freedom to understand that they don't have to be artists. They don't have to be creative. I mean, Canva has thousands of templates that students can choose from and text and just making things their own. They can pull in their own photographs. But I remember we did a project on Black History Month and they chose a certain character. And I remember just their creativity just exploded. Things that they couldn't probably have done on paper, they put into Book Creator with Canva integrated right into it. And it was just a beautiful thing. And they were so proud of it. And I think that too, we're empowering students to be proud of what they do. So giving them the tools, giving them the resources. And I think whether we give it to a student, to an educator, to an instructional design coach, whoever we're giving it to, we have that confidence. We have that kind of self-assurance that, hey, this is something anybody can do with just a little bit of modeling.
Jill, I could not relate to that more as someone who cannot even draw a stick figure, right? How much Canva has given me the confidence. I've always been like, I'm an ideas person. I have the idea. I can see it in my head. It does not translate to the page. Even my poor dear art teacher, who, God love her, and she would say that about me, like, God love you. You're trying so hard, but they just wouldn't come out the way that it was in my head. So I could not agree with that more.
Tisha, what about you?
There's little, the little magical tools that you can find, because Tisha has like quite the array of little hints and tips of how to make it even more, like, besides just scratching the surface, you can go so deep, you guys. So yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many things that you can do with Canva. And the thing that I love about Canva is because it's so intuitive and easy to use, you just start playing and you're going to find all sorts of hidden treasures. It's just all of the time I'm looking and playing and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is new, or I haven't seen this before. And it's just so exciting and so fun. And I view Canva as kind of this one-stop design shop because everything that I ever need is in Canva. I used to go to other websites to grab my QR codes. Now I can create them right in Canva. I can grab the background remover and remove those backgrounds from my photos. But I just can tap into, and anyone can tap into, all of this creativity. I created recently an escape room in Canva, and students are able to go in and there's all of these like things that they can click on that are going to lead them on this adventure to try to find the codes to open up the treasure chest. And so things like that you wouldn't normally think of using Canva for, you're able to use Canva for. I was in a 3rd grade class last spring, and this teacher had used Canva for the very first time with students, and she was having them use Canva just to create these presentations to demonstrate their learning. And I wasn't the one that introduced Canva to them. And so the person who introduced them didn't even show them that there was a draw feature in Canva. So if you don't know that there's a draw feature, there is, and it's amazing. And this kid had just happened upon this draw feature in Canva. And he went and he made hand drawings on all of his presentation slides and animated those drawings. So it was like he flipped through this presentation almost like a cartoon. It was absolutely phenomenal. No one taught him how to do that. He just found it on his own. And so I think that that's really the magic of this amazing tool, is that it just unlocks all of this creative, creativity. And students are really able to shine and to be able to show these skills that they have. And when I was asking this kid about, his presentation, he was beaming because he was able to talk about how much he loved drawing and how he did it. And he was so proud. And I love that about Canva. It just, there's just no end to what you can do.
I love that. And Tisha, just for sake of, in case you piqued interest for our listeners about the escape room in Canva, like which feature did you use to build? Was that like in a presentation, or what did you use to build that in?
So you can build it in a website. That's one of the things that a lot of people don't know that you can do is you can
learning it right now as you're telling me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing in Canva. And so I used a website design, and then I created kind of on that first one was like the entrance to the escape room. And then anything that you put within that page in a design can be linked to things. It can be linked to another page. It could be linked to an outside source. And so what I did, so this particular escape room, it was like this forest, and there was this little knot in a tree that kind of like was glowing. And so if you click on that glowing knot on the tree, it's going to lead you to this magical forest. And in that magical forest, it's like another page within the website. There's all these hidden keys that people have to find. When they click on the key, it leads them to a Google form. So again, you can link to another page within Canva, or you can link to an outside website, and then they have this clue that they have to solve and put in the code using the what is it called, response validation in a Google form. So, and there's just all of these like things that they can click on that will lead to like a little clue, like a pop-up clue or something else. And so website was the design I used, and I used that linking feature.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did not. I'm excited to get to a question where we ask you about hidden secrets. So just as a teaser, that's coming, because I feel like we're already getting a lot of good nuggets.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like our team, we have had like templates and coaching menus and different things from, again, kind of back to the theme of this mini series, like marketing ourselves for so many years now that we kind of update each year. But I feel like we just need to do like a complete overhaul, like start fresh and rebuild them in Canva, because they have, we were building them like in Google Docs or in other resources before we really like dove in head first. And now we build so much in Canva, but we're still using some of our templates and original resources elsewhere that now I see what some other folks are doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are so much more visually appealing than what we've been doing.
Well, what's really exciting about that is that you can take those things from Google, from PDFs that you have. You can actually upload them into Canva, and you can just make them better. So you do not have to start from scratch. And when I tell teachers that, they're like, oh my gosh.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Ground zero. But no, like it's pretty miraculous. You bring that PDF in, and it makes everything on that existing PDF editable, where you can move it around, you can change the font. And so you can just make things better. You can just take something that's tried and true you've used for years and just add another little boost of, like visual appeal to it.
That's amazing. Really, so is it just a PDF, or did you mention Google Docs that you can do that as well? Or would you just need to save a Google Doc as a PDF first?
So I would save it as a PDF and then bring it in that way.
That's awesome. Okay, we may owe you for a training session here by the end of this.
I would love it.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to take a quick break from our sponsor, but then we will be back in just a minute, where we're going to dive in to hear more about some hidden secrets of Canva that we may not know about. So stick with us.
Looking for a program that reaches all teachers in learning new tools to integrate in their lessons? Edu Badges is the answer. Edu is an anytime, anywhere badging program that is designed to take bite-sized tools for instruction and teach teachers how to use them. Edu has received the ISTE Seal of Alignment for educator standards, and each badge in our expanding library is aligned to the ISTE standards and the SAMR model. Learn more about the program that teachers call addicting at forward-edge.net/edubadges. Instructional coaches support teachers, students, administrators, and really everyone in the district. In fact, research shows that instructional coaching is one of the most impactful forms of professional development that results in improved teacher instruction and student achievement. But who is supporting the coach? Forward Edge provides multiple year-long mentorship options, recommended by the Google for Education Certified Coach Program to help you gain the valued support you need as an instructional coach. Visit forward-edge.net to start giving PD to the ultimate PD providers.
Welcome back to the Restart Recharge podcast. I'm Katie Ritter with co-host Justin Thomas here, and we are talking with Tisha Richmond from Canva and Jill DuBois, former repurposed educator, now with us as a part of our Edu Badges team, also author and chief optimist, originator of Imparted Joy LLC. And we are talking all things Canva and how you can help use it to market yourself. And sounds like lots of additional creative PD ideas that we are stumbling across talking to these two ladies and hearing about all the amazing ways that they've been using it. So we'd love to hear from both of you. And Jill, we'll start with you first from just coming fresh out of the classroom. What are some hidden secrets of Canva, or something that when you found out it was a big aha moment that you're not sure other people know, but they need to know Canva does it?
Oh, let's see. I think, the biggest surprise for me was making videos and being able to put whatever I wanted into that video. I mean, I could, and it was seamless. You can have transitions between your slides. You can add your own voice. You can add outside audio. You can bring in, anything you want. I have struggled in the past with different tools because I'm just not that techie. Canva makes it so easy because it's not techie. It is like we're going to walk you through every single little step. You're not going to be out on your own, like you say, Katie, on an island, and if you ever need any support, let me tell you, like, you shout something out on Twitter or any social media platform, within 5 minutes, somebody is responding to you saying, hey, how can I help you? Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
So it's just, one of those things I think that is magical, because not everybody offers those things that make it so seamless and that put so much of your passion and so much of your inspiration into it on your own without having to hire somebody to do it for you.
Love it. And Tisha, what from your perspective is like a hidden gem?
I love the More menu. So those of you who are listening and haven't gotten into the More menu, there's all sorts of treasure in there. So that's where you find the QR code. That's where you find the draw feature, which I love. There is another More menu feature called Character Builder, where students can build their own characters and be able to create like a storybook, which is incredible. I love the idea of using the draw feature for sketchnoting to combine those doodles and that text, and then you can bring in the other elements. So really allowing students to visualize and communicate their learning in that way is really, really powerful. I also love things like the color picker, where you can go in to a page and then grab that color picker and drop it on maybe a graphic that you have, and then you'll be able to match your font to that exact same color in the graphic. Those are just little things that just make designing so much easier. I love it. I also love kind of tagging on to that video idea. Is I've had videos that I've created in other platforms that I just want to like spruce up. And in fact, I just did this last night. I took an MP4 video that I had created in Camtasia and I brought it into Canva, and then I was able to record, like add to it. So I was able to add some elements and different animations to it, be able to add some elements overlaid on top of that MP4. So that's kind of one of those app smashing things that you can do, is bring in something else and just, make it better. And I love that Canva has so many partnerships with so many amazing digital tools that they've created templates for those tools. I think of the Book Creator, I think of Flip, I think of Pear Deck. I think of so many that have created these. Wakelet now has a partnership with Canva. And I love that about digital tools, that it's like we're all better together.
Yes.
So let's all like join forces and make these tools as intuitive and fun to use and effective for learning as we possibly can. And I just love every time I hear of a new partnership, I'm like, yay, another tool that I love that is joining forces. So it's really good. Another one that I love is the Magic Keys. So I present now almost solely in Canva. I've always created my presentation slides in Canva, but I used to bring them into Google Slides or bring them into something else. Now I present straight from Canva. They have these magic keys where if you click on any number on your keyboard, it's going to pop up a timer for that number for like 1, 2, 3. So if you wanted to do a presentation and then have your students turn and talk or do something for 3 minutes and come back, that timer is going to automatically pop up. And then there's all of these other fun little magic keys like the mic drop and confetti and the shh and different things just to add a little pizzazz to your presentations and be able to add kind of that whatever effect that you want to add. So that's another one.
Zhuzh it up.
Zhuzh it up. That's right, from Paige. Yeah.
Yeah, Paige said that last week. I'm like, I gotta start using that more. Okay, so two quick follow-up questions for you from that. Where can you find the more button if there's lots of good things? Is that when you're in a design editing?
Very good question. Yes. So when you create a design, on the left-hand side, there's this black kind of bar that goes down vertically, and that's where you're going to find your templates and your elements and your text. And at the very bottom, there is an icon that says more, and there's 3 little dots. And so that's the one that you click on. And then it's going to bring up this whole other menu of features. And what's neat about that is that when you find a feature that you like and you click on it and you use it, then it's going to pop up on that side navigation from there on out. So the things that you use often, you won't have to find in the more menu anymore. They're just going to be on the side navigation. And then you can clean up that side navigation if you hover over any of those icons. I think that's like 3 little dots will pop up, or it's a little X that will pop up, and you click it and then it goes away. So you can keep that sidebar streamlined to what you just truly use and want to have access to often.
Excellent. Thank you. And then can you also talk about, because to me, this is a hidden secret of Canva, and that's the fact that educators can get premium or pro Canva. I don't know the exact terminology, but free. And then there's also a way to bring it to your district for free, correct? I don't want to say that wrong.
Yes, that is the best secret of all.
Justin might have to edit if I'm saying that wrong. But can you just talk about that really quick about how, if people are, not familiar with Canva, or maybe they have been and they didn't realize they could bring it to their whole district, what does that process look like?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best. It's a secret in some places, and it should not be a secret. So please spread the word that Canva for Education is free for K-12 students, teachers, staff, everybody. And so if you go to Canva for Education, just do a Google search, Canva for Education, there is going to be a link where you can sign up for an educator account. And the Canva for Education account is really very similar to the premium version that you would get if you were to purchase Canva. But what's wonderful about it is Canva for Education is basically designed for students and for educators. And so there are customized templates for education. There's over 70,000 templates that are designed for students and teachers. And it's COPA and FERPA compliant. It has lots of integrations with LMSs, like you can share something on Google Classroom and students can turn it in that way. You're going to be able to connect to Canvas and Schoology if you use those learning management systems in your school. So it's really designed for education, but it has all of the amazing capabilities that you would have paid for before, and now you don't have to pay for it. So really awesome. Amazing. Mm-hmm. And to make it even better, if you're interested in bringing Canva for Education into your school or district, you will be able to do that as well. And so you basically will get rostered in. So if you're using a single sign-on, or however your school rosters your students into a digital platform, you can connect that setup so that everybody in your district, again, staff, teachers, students, everyone is going to be able to access Canva for Education for free. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Awesome.
So if you're interested in that, you can go on to Canva for Education and find more information about how get connected as a district as well.
That's amazing. And are there age limits? Or is it 13 and up for students, or is it, K-12 that can use it?
It's K-12.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
That's amazing. I mean, putting all that in together. Now, we both know, we've talked about it a little bit throughout the episode here, but let's dive into it. Both of you are authors. So what led you to decide that you actually wanted to put your ideas out there into your writing and illustrations? And how have you put creative ideas and designs into writing?
And Jill, we'll start with you.
Yeah. Good question. Yeah, you changed direction here. And that's awesome. But yeah, I just think that, especially now in the, we're teaching and we're dealing with digital natives. These students and that we're working with have no idea, that, hey, we used to take a paintbrush and we used to take paint and we used to have paper and we would do our designs that way. And, it's kind of just a freedom. There is a freedom in digital creation. And I know for myself, the programs that I'm using to, it's easy. Not easy in creating it, Katie, sorry, but easy in the fact that if you make a mistake, you can fix it right then and there. It's like instant gratification. So when you're talking about being able to use your creative, flow and your passions in your own personal work, which I, have just latched onto and I run with. I've got so many ideas, but all because I've got, art studio right here in my lap. I don't have to spend thousands of dollars to bring it all in. So allowing yourself that clarity and that freedom just to do whatever is in your heart, and it just comes out more, freely when you can just do everything in one place. But I think for students too, and we can model that for them. When my students would see my books, or I would do read alouds to other classrooms around the country, and they'd be like, "You drew all this?" And I'm like, "Yes, but you can do that too." And I always try and say, I don't want to limit anybody. I don't want to say, yes, I am an artist. Yes, I am an illustrator. But at the same time, it is open to anybody. Just dig down, cultivate that creativity that you have inside of you and find those platforms in which you can use it.
Love it.
Yeah. So, I never imagined that I would have a book. It wasn't something that I was setting out to do. And my just journey in education transformed so greatly that I had an opportunity to be able to share my story. And I just thought, in writing that story, if I can just even touch the lives of one educator, that could really change the trajectory of that educator, because I was burnout. I was ready to leave education and my joy was restored. And I wanted to be able to help restore other people's joy for teaching and learning and help them find magic in what they do and help teachers realize that they hold the magic. Like everybody has magic. And everybody can have a magical classroom, and it's not going to look the same for me as it's going to look for somebody else. And so I was just so grateful to have the opportunity to write and publish for Dave Burgess Consulting Incorporated, and they've just been amazing. And it's just been an amazing journey. And the people that I've met along the way have just touched my heart and just have made me better, and so I'm just so grateful to have been able to share my story with others and hope that it resonates with them.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for sharing those ideas. And speaking of sharing, before we go into our very last question for our top 3 tips from both of you, which, sorry, loyal listeners, it's landing on me this time. But can you both share your social media handles and where people can find and connect and share with you all outside of listening to this podcast?
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I can be found on Twitter at Tish Rich, so TISHRICH. You can find me on Instagram at Tish Richmond. So TishRichmond. I am on LinkedIn as well. And I have a website called TishaRichmond.com and I have a podcast, the Make Learning Magical podcast. And so you also can find that on all of the podcast platforms.
Awesome. And we'll link to all of this and some of the resources. Like if you're interested in bringing Canva to your district, we'll link all of that in our show notes at restartrecharge.com. Jill, where can we find you outside of this podcast?
Yeah, Jill DuBois 22 on Twitter and TikTok, and Instagram is Jillian DDE. So, and yeah, I do have a website as well, impartedjoy.com, and that's about it.
I'm trying TikTok. I haven't, I have not ventured super far, but I love kind of lurking and seeing, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting more ideas, and pretty soon I'm gonna join the scene full force, but tiptoeing in.
Yeah.
We've done the same.
You sound like us a little bit, Tisha. You're further than me. I'll say that. I'm just pronouncing it right.
Sure, you have gotten that down now.
That's as far as I've gotten, but Justin's been digging in for our podcast. TikTok. Oh, shoot. I said it wrong. TikTok. I always call it Tic-Tac. Anyway, I'll get there too eventually. Okay, so now our final question of the podcast, and I think our most anticipated question of every episode. From both of you, Jill, we'll start with you. What are your top 3 tips for using Canva to showcase your creativity?
Ooh, all right. Well, it's just 3 words. So simplify, clarify, and amplify. So when you can simplify your world and anything that you have to do it and do it with clarity. Be sure and clarify your message, what you're trying to get across to others. In Canva, it's very simple to do that. And then amplify. Just amplify your voice. We all have a message to share, all have a story that hopefully will spark that joy, like Tisha said, and really kind of spark everybody else's story.
I love it. Please tell me you thought of that ahead of time, because if that was on the spot, that was very impressive.
But, went back to, what I've talked about before, and
yeah. That was awesome. Great.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can follow that, but oh my goodness. I would just say, I think the biggest thing is just to have fun creating. Canva makes it so easy by having thousands and thousands of templates to start from. So sometimes I'll just start with a template, but that template will look nothing like it did when I started with it. It was just that spark of inspiration to get me going. And so utilize those templates as kind of that spark of inspiration, and then just have fun designing. Creation is just like this iterative process, right? And I'll keep like adding things, moving things around, and until I get the design that I like, that really is able to express what I'm wanting to say. And I also would say utilize that duplicate feature in a design too. Oftentimes I'll create something and then I'll duplicate it because I think, well, maybe I want to go a different direction with this, but I don't want to take away what I already did. And so I'll just duplicate that design and then iterate on the first one. Smart. And that's kind of nice because then I can go back if I want to. And another really like a pro tip that I love is that if you take your cursor and you drag it over elements that you've brought into a design and let go, it's going to group all of those elements and text together so that you can move it all in one block. Because when you're designing in Canva, you know how you just start adding and layering all these things together, and you might do that and it's perfect, but you're like, oh, but I just want to move it over left just like a 1/4 inch, but then you feel like you have to move every single little thing a 1/4 inch. And that grouping feature will just like grab it all and then allow you to move it in one block. And then when you click it again, it all separates out again. So it doesn't have to stay grouped forever. So that's a tip that I use all of the time that just has made my life so much easier.
Thank you. This has been my own little PD session from the two of you with all of your wonderful tips. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, this has been fantastic. As you mentioned, I've learned a lot more than I ever anticipated with Canva. That last little tip there, Tisha, that speaks to me, because I feel like I'm like, I want this just moved over just a little bit, but I don't want to go through the whole process of scooting over like 18 different images and things that. But awesome. Well, thank you both for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much.
This has been amazing. Continuing on with the little mini series here with Canva. So if you weren't sold from Paige and Anne Marie before, hopefully you're sold now and using Canva with Jill and Tisha.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so tune in next time for another great episode packed full of coaching strategies and tips to keep your school year rolling with success. Also, don't forget that we have the EDU Coach Network that is here and waiting for you to join, so you can find amazing strategies and resources and build a fantastic PLN to support your coaching throughout the school year. That is all found at educoachnetwork.com.
And so that takes us to the end here, but be sure to subscribe to Restart Recharge wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at RRCoachCast.
And as always, feel free to reach out to us and let us know if there's anything on your mind for a topic that you want us to discuss here on the Restart Recharge podcast.
So press the restart button,
recharge your coaching batteries, and leave feeling equipped and inspired to coach fearlessly with the Restart Recharge podcast,
a Tech Coach collective. Wow. Okay. I learned a whole lot, so thank you. So send me your bill for that.
It's fun. I can talk about Canva all day long.